It's Emma. I'm back with another episode of Bookish. I do have 2 guests in the room, so if you hear any outside voices, that's why. I'm also eating French fries. The dote of today is my, what is the Frosty? My chocolate Frosty, whom Blue is very interested in. Oh, Acrobat. Wow. Oh my gosh. Blue. Gotta keep it cute, dude. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. I have to turn this on. Okay. Hold on, guys. I almost forgot I have to turn on the radio portion of this because this is on the radio. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bookish. This week we're talking about book slumps because I'm currently in one. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about the app. We currently have an app now at Oracle Talk Radio. Just look it up on the App Store, any App Store. It was a finished coding by Tom. You will know him from Chasing Prophecies, so go check that out. There is a subscription that you can subscribe to, but other than that, the app is free. You just get more benefits and some interesting fun things with the membership itself. Anyways, so the book club pick that I have been telling you guys to read for weeks now, being 5-Star Stranger by Kat Tank, has yet to be read by me. And there's a good reason. I've been in a pretty bad book slump. I feel like every book I pick up, I just don't want to read. I just want to sit there and scroll my phone or do anything other than that. And even it comes from I would rather be doing like going on a workout or oh, you heard that? That was my cat. And a majority of it also has to do with the fact that my life is so busy. And I want to just talk a little bit about book slumps and life slumps and everything like that. If you're just tuning in, my dote is a Wendy's Frosty. A last minute fun, exciting thing that I went on my way home. So we'll try a little bit of this and then we'll get into the episode. Some people might not consider this a drink. I'm going to call it my dote. We're calling it the dote. Love it. Whoop. This is so good. You can't beat this combo of fries and a Frosty.
Wendy's specifically.
Wendy's specifically, honestly. We're going to dip. You guys didn't know this was an ASMR moment too, I bet. Well, I can't with you. You just have to throw him. Anyways. Okay. So today we're talking about the reading slump, as I've mentioned. So the last couple books that I've read, I'm going to share them with you. And the ratings that I've given them. Because, I need my phone. Because I've read, since I've been at college, I've read 5 books. Which might seem maybe normal to some people, but for me, I read 5 books a week. So 5 books in 2.5 months is slightly crazy for me. However, the books that I have read, I've enjoyed. I read Lore Olympus, which I think I gave a 3 stars or something like that. Taming 7, which I think I gave a 4.75. Summer Romance, I gave a 4. Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory, I gave a 4. Leather and Lark, I gave a 3 or 2 or something. But not awful ratings. But I don't think that that's funny. I don't think that the book slump stems from the books that I'm reading being bad. I think it stems from the books that I'm reading just not having any merit. And I feel like this, as I get older and my frontal lobe develops, my frontal lobe is like, just there's certain things that I don't enjoy anymore. I think also there's the balancing life as a college student. Like, not a lot of people in college read. And so when there's other things that I could be doing, such as going out with friends or a lot of different extracurriculars that feel more meaningful at the time, because you're gaining more than if you're reading a book. You know what I mean? Like, if you're reading, I don't know, just a book in your bed while all your friends are going out, it feels so not meaningful whatsoever. And you're only in college once. So it feels also like if I stay behind and don't go out and read or do something for myself, there's almost a level of like, like you're not living the life that somebody else is dreaming for, if that makes sense. That there's so many people in the world that would love to be in the position that I'm in, or that everybody in college is in, where they can just decide to go to college. And that also feels like an obligation of like, I want to, like, me not going to class and or me doing things like there's people that are literally praying to be in the position that I'm in right now, you know? And so I try and look at it that way, but it doesn't, obviously, it's a pretty like abstract way of looking at a book slump, but that's just like what the book slump is stemming from. So I'm currently a college senior, so I am planning everything that comes with post-grad. So if you are at any stage in your life prior to graduating college, something they don't tell you is you have to start applying for jobs post-grad while you're still in school. That the job market is not that great, especially in every career. Like if you're, like, for example, if you're a teacher, lots of people want to become teachers, especially like if you're going in to be a kindergarten teacher. That's like a lot of people want to be kindergarten teachers. That's a more competitive career in that way. But if you're going to school to be an electrical engineer, your career path itself, not a lot of people want to go into. Fortunately or unfortunately for me, my major is pretty broad, so I can do a lot with it. But with that being said, my major also is pretty competitive when it comes to certain aspects of it. So if I want to go into news journalism, that's a pretty competitive field. But if I want to use my major to, what could I do? I could do so much if I want to use my major to go into business at Amazon, like, if we're being frank here, like, lots of people might want to go to Amazon to get business. So you have to start that type of stuff early, which is also occupying my mind 90% of the time, because you have interviews, you have all of these things that take so long to just like finalize because other people are doing the same thing. There's also trying to figure out what life is going to look like after school, like just life in general, because you spend your whole life for that moment of getting your degree, or at least in my end. You know, I always knew I was going to go to college. I always knew that I was going to go to where I go to school. I always knew that the life I was living now was going to happen, but you don't necessarily always think about what life happens, the life that you're going to live after. You know, there's always the marriage, kids, all these like big, beautiful dreams, but they don't necessarily, it's not, at least on my end, it's not, I can't wait to start this career. It's always, I can't wait to graduate. And then you're almost there, and it's like the most nerve-wracking feeling. I got my graduation date, like they have it like posted, and it's just like a looming date in the future that just like seals a before and after for me. I need to take a moment to have my frosty, guys. It's a frosty type of conversation. Blue, hi buddy. Hi. He's getting so big. Hi, blue boy. Oh, he wants my Frosty. This is it. I just get a junior. You can't even see it because it just is the right amount of sweet. It does the job. I do want to share some quotes from one of my favorite books, but I don't have the book exactly with me right now, so hold on, let's look. It's a book called Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I am a spokesperson for this book. Not really, but I just am. I've read this book, I couldn't tell you how many times, just like all the time. I love this book. I first read it when I was just freshly graduating high school. And I felt like at a time in my life, it had such a meaningful impact for me as a person, especially as a young girl. It's a memoir, and she discusses her life from her her whole life up to the point of her writing this book. She's based in London, and I'm talking. It's based in London, and it's absolutely beautiful in how she describes being a woman and also just like life in general in your 20s. I'll share a couple quotes from it. The most famous, I would say, is nearly everything I know about love I've learned from my long-term friendships with women, which if you are in college, that completely rings true for your outlook on a lot of things. Blue is trying to eat my fries. You can't eat my fries, dude. Blue. Can't eat my fries. They're not for you. He's a little crazy today. This quote in particular that I'm about to read, I read during a time where I was not exactly okay. Oh. He my cat is currently in my Coach bag. He's bougie as freak. Blue.
In the Stanley Cup.
In the Stanley Cup too. All right. Hold on, guys. I have to find it. Where is it? It's like so. Oh, know what it's like to find shelter in somebody's arms. Hope you'll find it again. And I read that during a particularly hard trip I took to Lake Como. And I was just like having a hard time because you're in this beautiful place in the world and you're just like, why can't I feel happy to be here? And I read that. I'll say it again. Know what it's like to find shelter in somebody's arms. No, hope that you'll find it again. And it just reminded me that because at that point I had missed my family so much and wanted them. And it just reminded me how powerful the connections that I've made and that we are more than the moments in our life that feel so definable at that moment. Another really great quote from this book is when you're looking for love and it seems like you might not ever find it, remember you probably have abundance. You probably have access to an abundance of it already. Not just the romantic kind. This kind of love might not kiss you in the rain or propose marriage, but it will listen to you, inspire, and restore you. It will hold you when you cry, celebrate when you're drunk, and sing all saints with you when celebrate when you're happy and sing all saints with you when you're drunk. You have so much to gain and learn from this kind of love. You can carry it with you forever. Keep it as close to you as you can. And that's the final paragraph in the book. What a beautiful sentiment. What a beautiful sentiment. Oh. It is so beautiful and it is so inspiring. Yes, I will share that. Oh my gosh. Yes. It is so beautiful, and the way that she describes it in the book, it does such an amazing job to reflect exactly what that kind of love does for somebody, especially in their 20s when you're just trying to navigate life. But at any age, you're just constantly trying to, one of my favorite quotes in general, not from this book, is like, we're all just kids learning about life and learning. We're all just kids trying. This is our first time living, everybody's. So have grace. I'll share another one. My cat is currently clawing at my shirt. So if you see a little paw fly up, that's why. Hold on, let's find it. When you are in the middle of a story, it isn't a story at all, but only a confusion, a dark roaring, a blindness, a wreckage of shattered glass and splintered wood, like a house in a whirlwind, or else a boat crushed by the icebergs or swept over the rapids, and all aboard powerless to stop it. It's only afterward that it becomes anything like a story at all, when you are telling it to yourself or to someone else. Incredibly, incredibly beautiful sentiment. And oh, I apologize, Michael. Oh my gosh, my cat is being a little crazy. I overall just feel like the book itself is what I lean towards when I'm having these difficult times. And especially graduating college. I can't. My cat is currently going a little crazy. Another thing I want to talk about is why we pull away from things that we love when life gets difficult. You think that like when things get hard, you pull towards, or you get pulled towards them rather than pulled away. But I oftentimes feel like when you are having a hard time, your immediate reaction is to almost bask in the sadness. I think in my psychology class, my freshman year, I learned that there is an addictive form of sadness, that being sad is actually an addicting emotion at times, that it can release the same dopamine as somebody with an addiction would be. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm going to eat a fry. Bad time to eat a fry during an addict conversation, but the level of sadness that one can have, especially during seasonal depression, can become addicting. And I think the reason why is because it almost allows you to break down, which is such a freeing emotion at times, and something that we as humans don't often do well with. And combating that with the things you love and doing those things, it almost feels like the sadness almost is a reward, and for the hard work you put in, or if all this hard work, I can let myself break down at the end, which is often a very toxic mentality. But when you're a college student, that seems like the easiest option at times. With the relation of trying to find yourself outside of schooling, it's oftentimes so hard to combat those two things itself. The typical seasonal depression and sadness that one receives or one gets due to school, that traditional, oh, it's fall time, we start school again, and it's no longer us. Each season brings a new layer of school. It's your entire life now is learning. Your entire life is adapting, and you have your life in your own hands, hopefully, which is oddly an extremely scary thing, but also quite beautiful. And relating back to that book, Everything I Know About Love, it I read it on the beaches of Paros, Greece, which in itself is an extremely amazing thing. He's kind of crazy. No, my fries! I can't with him. Which in itself is a beautiful thing. But the openness of being there with such, at being so young, put the book in so much perspective for me. I am trying to read more because I also have this podcast that I want to talk about the books I'm reading and share things, and it's hard to do that when you aren't reading. But I also feel like there's layers of life, and at times the things you love don't spark love for you anymore, and that's not a permanent thing. It can just be a temporary change in your life. The dough is still going strong, guys. I want to give you guys some book recommendations other than Everything I Know About Love that changed my perspective on a lot of things. One of which is You Are a Badass, which in hindsight didn't really do that much, but it affirmed the feelings I had already had. It essentially is a book about just finding your own confidence, which was amazing. But the book, other than Everything I Know About Love, that quite literally changed my outlook on life was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. I read it when I was probably 13, and I read the sequel right when it came out. And wow, did that change how I looked at my life at such a young age? At 13, why was I reading that? I couldn't tell you. Actually, I do. I got an Urban Outfitters gift card one year. And Urban Outfitters sells books, I guess. So I just bought it and I read it. And wow, was that book absolutely brilliant. It talks a lot about how when you affirm to yourself things in the mirror every day, that oftentimes it comes from a negative connotation. Like if I look at myself every day and I say I am smart, it stems from the feeling that I'm not. And so the more you tell yourself I am smart, you're also telling yourself that you're not smart. And you have to, in order to look at yourself and tell yourself something, you have to really affirm to yourself that that's what it is, that's how you feel. That's not how, you can't just I am smart yourself into intelligence, if that makes any sense. Lastly, before I wrap this up, a really amazing book by I can't remember the author's name, but it's a book called Bittersweet. It talks about grief a lot and how grieving a person, but also a place in time. And that is also something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with, is missing a time in your life that felt so meaningful and wishing you could get it back. I wish I could know the author. Bittersweet book. It's Bittersweet, How Sorrow and Longing Make Us Whole. It's by Susan Cain. What a beautiful book about grief. Extremely, extremely beautiful. I definitely want to dedicate a whole episode to talking about motivational books, but I wanted to talk a lot about my book slump in this one and why the book club book has yet to be read. But I think right now as a college student, life is kind of hectic and crazy. But I guess the overall feeling of this is I'm so grateful that it is hectic and crazy, because there's a version of me out there that has not a hectic and crazy life right now that wishes for more. and I got more. So it's all about perspective, and that's just how you have to look at it. But I'm going to try to read, I think, 10 pages a day. That's going to be my goal for the next week to get out of this. But I really hope you guys enjoyed hearing me ramble about my book slump and all of the books that I hope you guys read and take some beautiful things from, beautiful prose. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.